I'm a 29-year-old guy, and I've been with my girlfriend, who is 27, for almost 7 years. Our relationship has had some problems because I often have to go on work trips to different countries. She doesn't like this and worries that I might be cheating on her. She's been cheated on before by someone else in the past. I've tried many times to reassure her that I'm not cheating, and I've even stopped drinking when I travel. I've done my best to avoid spending time with other women, and I've always called and messaged her whenever I could. She's also pregnant, which I think makes her worry even more. Sometimes she calls me and cries on the phone if I don't reply to her message right away. I've done everything I can to make her trust me, but it makes me sad that she still doesn't fully believe me. Last week, I came back home early from a trip to surprise her. I brought her flowers, movie tickets, and even a ring because I wanted to ask her to marry me. When I got home, I noticed a car in the driveway that I didn't recognize. I thought it might be her friend's car. When I went inside, I heard loud music coming from our bedroom, which was strange because she doesn't usually like loud music. When I went upstairs and went into the bedroom, I saw something that shocked me. My girlfriend was texting a guy I had never seen before. I won't go into details about what happened next, but the guy left the house after a short while. Then my girlfriend and I had a big argument. She accused me of not being around enough, not taking her on dates, and even cheating on her during my work trips. These accusations hurt a lot because I've always made an effort to take her out and show her I care, even when I'm tired. She accused me of cheating, but I have never cheated. I even gave her access to my social media accounts because I love her. I don't know why, but I got really angry. I packed up her things and put them outside in the rain. She yelled at me for doing that, which made my head hurt even more. I know what I did was wrong, and I regret it. I grabbed her and threw her out of the house, telling her not to come back because I would change the locks. I slammed the door and took 2 weeks off work because of a family problem. Since then, I've been drinking a lot to cope with the sadness. Some people in the comments gave advice. They said I should stop drinking and take care of myself. They also suggested getting tested for certain infections and checking if the baby is really mine when it's born. They advised me to separate finances, talk to a lawyer, and let our families know about the situation. They said to change passwords and be cautious about signing the birth certificate. They also recommended seeing a therapist and finding a healthier relationship where there's trust. Things were really bad between us, and it made me really unhappy looking back. I'm so relieved that I didn't end up staying with her. This happened a while ago, and since then, things have changed a lot for the better. I eventually met my wife, and she's completely different. She's more mature, and she doesn't act clingy or needy. The most important thing is that we trust each other completely. We never feel the need to ask for passwords or invade each other's private conversations. Trust is like the foundation of our relationship, and it's made things work so well. I wanted to thank all of you for your comments and messages. Your support means a lot to me. I might not be able to reply to everyone, but I want you to know that I'm grateful. I've started therapy now, and I've also stopped drinking, which is a big step for me. I'll be sure to give you all an update on my progress soon. Now let's talk about the recent developments. I'm sorry it took me a bit to get this update out. Life has been pretty busy lately. First, I want to address some of the things I've noticed in the comments. Some people seem to have misunderstood our ages. Just to clarify, we were born in the same year but different months. I was born in May, and she was born in December. Looking back, I realized that I made a mistake by reacting the way I did and kicking her out. It was wrong of me, and I should have handled the situation better. My anger got the best of me, and I wish I had chosen to stay in a hotel or with my parents for a while. As for the guy she was involved with, he refused to leave when I asked him to, and it escalated into a physical altercation between us. Eventually, my ex intervened and told him to leave. I just wanted to provide some clarity on the events that unfolded around the flowers and engagement rings. I bought the engagement rings about a month before everything happened, and I also purchased the movie tickets online. The flowers were from a local supermarket in our town. If you have more questions about the situation, feel free to ask. As for the update on my life, I'm currently in therapy to work through the emotions resulting from her cheating and my own anger and drinking issues. Her infidelity was a wake-up call for me, making me realize the extent of the problems in our relationship. She's been trying to contact me non-stop, asking for forgiveness and suggesting that we can work things out. She's even attempted to manipulate me into letting her back into my life with all sorts of excuses. I want to be clear that I've reached my limit. I should have recognized her behavior as unacceptable much earlier. Recently, she went as far as attempting to break into my house. I immediately contacted the police, and she was held for a few hours before being released. It's puzzling why she wasn't arrested. Her parents have been upset with me for kicking her out onto the streets, and she's now staying with them until she can afford her own place. I fully acknowledge my wrongdoing and resorting to physical actions and forcing her out. I'm actively searching for a new home in a different town as I want to leave behind the painful memories associated with this place. I'm incredibly grateful for the kind messages and advice I've received, even though I might not be able to respond to all of them right now due to my current state of mind. Looking ahead, I'm planning to have a paternity test when the baby is born, and I'm also considering getting a restraining order to safeguard myself from any potential future issues. I apologize if this update is not exactly what you were hoping for, but I felt it was important to share my thoughts and progress. Thank you all for your understanding and support. I want to express my deep gratitude to all of you, and I truly hope that life brings you wonderful rewards in the future. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want you all to know that I care for each and every one of you should any situation arise. I promise to provide an immediate update now. Let's delve into story 2. Am I at fault for allowing my niece and nephew to cause havoc in the house due to my sister-in-law's explicit instruction not to discipline them? My elder brother Casey, age 32, has a significant age gap with me, age 17. He is married to Mandy. My sister-in-law is 36, and together they have 2 adorable children. My nephew Nick, age 3.5, and my niece Maya, who is 2 years old. This story starts when Mandy requested a favor from my parents, asking if I could take care of Nick and Maya. The reason behind this request was Mandy's wish to visit her mother. Unfortunately, their initial babysitter canceled at the last minute, putting Mandy in a tough spot. Babysitting, especially kids below the age of 5, was not in my comfort zone as I had no prior experience. However, I was swayed by my parents' offer to compensate me. I agreed to the task, but babysitting Nick and Maya turned out to be quite challenging. They exhibited behaviors as if they had never heard the word no or been expected to behave before. Their escapades included decorating the walls with crayons and markers and attempting to flush bath toys down the toilet. Tantrums involving floor rolling and screams for candy. The list goes on in my attempts to manage the situation. I took the step of imposing timeouts on Nick and Maya for their behavior. I called Mandy to inform her of their actions and the disciplinary measures I had undertaken. Surprisingly, upon her return, Mandy didn't address the children's behavior. Instead, she expressed her displeasure with me for disciplining them. She asserted that I, not being their mother, had no authority to impose discipline and that I should understand my place. The story took a similar turn. The following weekend, Mandy once again pleaded for my help in babysitting Nick and Maya due to her intention to visit her mother. Despite my reservations, my parents convinced me, and once again, Mandy reiterated her stance on not allowing any form of discipline towards the children. It began to seem evident that this restriction might be the reason she struggled to secure a babysitter for Nick and Maya. Given her explicit instructions, I chose to adhere to Mandy's wishes. My approach was focused on ensuring the children's safety and preventing them from running into any dangerous situations. Beyond that, however, I refrained from intervening in their activities. Unsurprisingly, this led to the house being in disarray by the time Mandy returned home. Her reaction was one of anger and disappointment towards me. She even tried to convince my parents not to compensate me for my efforts. Despite her efforts, my parents did remunerate me as originally agreed upon, but they conveyed their disappointment, pointing out that while Mandy's no discipline rule might have seemed impractical, I had numerous better options for keeping Nick and Maya engaged. Activities such as crafting or playing hide and seek could have been pursued instead of allowing the children to run. Interestingly, Casey, my brother, and the children's father remained silent throughout this ordeal. His absence is not unusual, as he tends to dedicate most of his time to work. When at home, he assumes the role of the fun uncle, is leaving the primary parenting responsibilities to Mandy. In light of these events, I find myself seeking an impartial perspective. Was I truly in the wrong in this scenario? It is important to recognize that the consensus seems to lean towards you not being at fault. While it might have been possible to redirect the children's behavior, there was limited recourse for you to enforce discipline. Given the constraints placed upon you, it's reasonable to suspect that the difficulty Mandy faced in securing a babysitter was tied to her specific expectations around discipline. Your age of 17 might suggest relative inexperience, yet your ability to perceive the situation accurately remains noteworthy. The recommendation to reconsider babysitting these children in the future seems prudent, although the situation could potentially improve over time, especially given that it involves family. It might be wise to negotiate a more authoritative position if you choose to babysit again. Having the backing of your parents, especially if it's their home where babysitting occurs, can provide a more effective approach to handling the challenges of caring for children. Effectively managing such situations involves making decisions and taking actions that you believe are appropriate, while perfection might not be immediate. Your capacity to adapt and respond appropriately is evident, and in the end, the consensus leans towards you not being in the wrong, which concludes today's discussion. If you're enjoying this narrative, I encourage you to show your appreciation by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for your time and attention.